Hello everyone, how are you all? Hope everybody is doing fine. So today we will be continuing with the second part of the types of sentences, and today's topic will be interrogative sentences. Hope all of you have gone through the previous vlog where I have discussed about the assertive sentences or the declarative sentences. The second point was the second type of sentence, which was divided in accordance with the function of the sentence, was the interrogative sentence. And as I have told you that interrogative sentences are also known as the questions. Interrogative sentences are also known as the questions. Now, so what are interrogative sentences or what are questions? Any kind of question when you are asking to somebody, maybe it in any form, like whatever question you are asking, जे कोनो धरनेर प्रश्न, किसी भी तरह का प्रश्न तुम जब किसी को कर रहे हो, what is your name, where do you live, what do you like to eat, what is your favorite color, how are you now, what about you, are you going with me? Any kind of question which you ask to anybody, these type of questions are known as the interrogative sentences. So interrogative sentences are those sentences which we use to ask any question or we ask anything to anybody. These are the sentences which we use. Okay. Now, interrogative sentences, it's very easy to understand. There are a few points which we need to remember while we frame an interrogative. Let me go through it. Number one, the first thing that you should always remember when you are making an interrogative sentence or when you are framing an interrogative sentence is, the first thing is the first letter should be in capital. Okay. So whenever a question begins, when you are writing an interrogative question, the first letter of the first word should be in capital letters. Number two, use of question mark at the end. The second point which you need to remember is that whenever you are writing an interrogative sentence, that sentence should end in a question mark. That is very important. And number three, when we are writing an interrogative sentence, the verb comes before the subject. With this we also need to remember. This is also very important because when we studied about the assertive sentences at that time, we have studied that the structure of the sentence or the frame of the sentence was S plus V plus O, that is subject plus verb plus object. But when you are framing an interrogative sentence, at that time this should be the sentence structure. Generally the structure comes out to be verb, auxiliary verb or modal verb, auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb plus extension of the sentence. There may be object, there may not be an object, and at the end without fail you need to provide a question mark. Okay. इंट्रोगेटिव सेंटेंस के बांग्लाয় আমরা বলে থাকি প্রশ্নবোধক বাক্য, हिंदी में हम लोग बोलते हैं प्रश्नसूचक वाक्य. ओके. सो जो भी सेंटेंस, जो भी हम लोग जब किसी को कुछ पूछते हैं, पूछताछ करते हैं, किसी भी तरह का दिस टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस और इस टाइप के सेंटेंसेस को, इस टाइप के वाक्य को हम लोग इंट्रोगेटिव सेंटेंस बोलेंगे. যখন কাউকে কোনো কিছু জিজ্ঞাসা করছো তখন সেই ধরনের যে বাক্যগুলো আমরা ব্যবহার করে থাকি সেই বাক্যগুলোকে আমরা প্রশ্নবোধক বাক্য বলবো. ঠিক আছে. তার মধ্যে এই কিছু জিনিস আমাদের তিনটে পয়েন্ট খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট মনে রাখতে হবে. প্রথম পয়েন্ট হচ্ছে যে যখন আমি একটা ইন্ট্রোগেটিভ সেন্টেন্স শুরু করব, when I am beginning an interrogative sentence, the sentence should begin with a capital letter. That the sentence means the first word should have a capital letter, which should begin with a capital letter, that we should remember. The second thing is very very important. जखन सेंटेंस एंड होगा, जब सेंटेंस एंड होगा तब हम लोगों का एक क्वेश्चन मार्क ऐड करना है. दिस इज द सिंबल ऑफ द क्वेश्चन मार्क. Hope most of us know about it. question mark symbol रहना चाहिए. question mark symbol থাকতে হবে. যদি question mark symbol না থাকে তাহলে কিন্তু সেন্টেন্সটাকে ইন্ট্রোগেটিভ সেন্টেন্স হিসেবে কমপ্লিটলি ধরা যাবে না এবং সেটা ভুল. ठीक है. अगर हम लोग अगर हम लोग क्वेश्चन मार्क नहीं यूज कर रहे हैं एट द एंड, अगर भूल जा रहे हैं, देन इन दैट केस द कंप्लीट सेंटेंस, जो सेंटेंस हमने लिखा इंट्रोगेटिव सेंटेंस के अंदर, वो इंट्रोगेटिव सेंटेंस नहीं होगा. ठीक है. सो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. यू नीड टू नो दैट देयर शुड बी अ क्वेश्चन मार्क without fail at the end of the interrogative sentence. And last also I have explained it to you. I will explain it in a better way. Let me give you an example. But before that, let me just tell you, when I was in school, coming to the second point, that is you should have a question mark at the end. Many a times it happened with me itself that I have my teacher has in the question paper I have got to convert affirmative sentences into interrogative sentence, or she has given a few sentences and I had to rewrite it in a different way. So there during that time also, many a times it has happened that I have written the sentence properly, but at the end I have put a full stop. Let me give you an example. What is your name? Very very common question. What is your name? If I put a full stop here, if I put a full stop after this, then my answer will be wrong because of two reasons. First, after an interrogative question, to show that this is an interrogative sentence, you need to put this symbol, of course, without fail, that is the question mark. Secondly, in this type of question, as I have told you, going with the third rule, the verb comes before the subject. Here you see, is my auxiliary verb which has come before the subject, your name. So if I am following this, then of course this is an interrogative sentence. An interrogative sentence cannot have a full stop at the end. So because of these two reasons, my sentence will be wrong even if you write the sentence properly. Grammatically, even if it is correct, but technically, since it's becoming wrong, you will get a 0 for it. Okay, so this you have to remember when you are writing an interrogative sentence. These 3 points you need to remember. Now the next point which you need to remember is that interrogative sentences can be written or may begin with 3 different types of words. The first is, it may begin with a WH word. Number 2, it may begin with an auxiliary verb. Number 3, it may begin with a modal auxiliary. Okay, so these are the 3 different types of words with which an interrogative sentence may begin. Now, what are WH words? WH words, we will use those words which are used for framing questions. For example, who, which, what, when, where, etc. And we use how also. These are the different types of WH questions, WH words which we use for framing the WH questions. Okay, WH words which we use for framing interrogative sentences. Now the first question may come to your mind that okay, these things we understood, that who, which, what, when, where, these words are beginning with WH word, but why how? Because how is beginning with H or H, only H, then why WH? Actually, how previously it was pronounced as wow. Okay, earlier it was pronounced as wow, and in that time itself it was pronounced as wow, and it fell under the category of WH words. Still now it continues to be a part of the WH sentences. Now, to make it more clear, I'll be giving you a few examples which will make more clear to you how we can frame interrogative sentences with WH words. So let's see. So hope now you understood that by seeing the examples which you have gone through, that how with the use of WH words we can frame interrogative sentences. The second point we will come across are the auxiliary verbs. Now what are auxiliary verbs? Auxiliary verbs बांग्लाते আমরা বলি সাহায্যকারী ক্রিয়া, हिंदी में हम लोग बोलते हैं सहायक क्रिया. So auxiliary verbs, a few examples. We'll be going into details about all these things when we'll be doing about verbs. I'll tell everything to you very clearly. But just now, let me just give you a few examples to make you understand what are the auxiliary verbs. Which words are known as the auxiliary verbs? Like is, am, are, was, were, do, did, does, etc. There are many more. So these are known as the auxiliary verbs. Using these words, we can frame interrogative sentences also. Let's see the examples. Okay, so hope it's clear to you now how by using the auxiliary verbs we are able to make the interrogative sentences. Okay, the next and the last type of words which we can use for framing sentences, that is the interrogative sentences, are the modal auxiliaries. Modal auxiliaries in Hindi we say रूपात्मक सहायक क्रिया, and in Bengali আমরা বাংলায় বলে থাকি প্রকারীয় ক্রিয়া. Modal auxiliary কিছু example দিয়ে দিই. Let me give you a few examples of modal auxiliaries, then you can understand which words we will use. Shall, should, can, could, will, would, may, might, etc. So all these words, more are there. I've just given a few examples to make you understand. So all these words, shall, should, can, could, will, would, may, might, etc. All these are, ought is there, need is there. There are more words. These are known as the modal auxiliaries. Using these modal auxiliaries also, an interrogative sentence can be framed. Let's see the examples. Okay, so you have gone through the examples. Hope now it's clear to you that how we have framed the examples, how we have framed the questions by using the WH words, by using the auxiliary verb, and by using the modal auxiliary. Now one thing you need to remember, that when you are using a WH word, as you have gone through, what is your name or where do you live? So in many cases you will find in WH word we are using an auxiliary verb as well, isn't it? When you are writing, what is your name? And here I have used the WH word, but I need to use the auxiliary verb as well before the subject, because what itself is not a subject, is not a verb. What is not a verb? Where is not a verb? How is not a verb? But as I have told you, to frame an interrogative sentence, the verb should come before the subject. So here we need to use a verb before the subject. Whichever question you have gone through, you will find that there is a verb which is used before the subject. But when we are framing sentences with the auxiliary verb, or we are framing sentences with the modal auxiliaries, here you will find that Here we do not need to use any other word. Like when we are using the auxiliary verb or the modal auxiliaries, we are directly beginning the question with these particular words. Are you there? We are writing the when I'm asking the question, are you there? Are you there? You is the subject, are is the auxiliary verb. So I don't need to add any other word before it. We can begin the question with this particular word itself. Same with the modal auxiliaries also. When we are beginning a question with this, may I go to toilet? May I go to toilet? When you are asking your teacher, this is a very common question for the students that you ask when you are when a class is running. May I go to toilet? So when you are using the word may is a modal auxiliary. It becomes the subject. So you have already used the verb before the subject, and so this way you can frame the sentences. Hope these things are clear to all of you. The next thing which we will be discussing is we can frame questions with question tags. Okay, now what are question tags? Question tags are very small short questions. It can be considered as a sentence's tail. It's a kind of tail to a particular sentence, and this is exceptionally different, and I have kept it for the end. Why? Because you need to understand this, because these type of sentences, of course it will end with a question mark, of course they will begin with a capital letter, but it will not begin with any WH word or auxiliary verb or modal auxiliary. The question framed will be in a different way. That is, the question we will be framing, the interrogative sentence which we will be framing, it will be written it will be beginning in an assertive form, but will end up to be in an interrogative form. For example, you have done your homework. You have done your homework, haven't you? You have done your homework, haven't you? So when you are saying you have done your homework, you may put a full stop to it, because this seems to be a kind of assertive sentence. But we have used a question tag to it. We have put the question at the end as a tail to the main sentence. That is why these type of questions are known as the question tags. Okay, let's see a few more examples. It will become more clear to you. Okay, let's see. So question tags, hopefully you have got a rough idea of it. Now there are a few things we need to remember when we are framing questions with question tags. Generally the questions will be when you are writing the sentence. When you are writing a sentence in a positive form, that is, the assertive sentence will be in a positive form, but the question will be in a negative form. If you have gone through the questions properly, you will understand. যে কোয়েশ্চেনগুলো আমি তৈরি করেছি অ্যাসার্টিভ ফর্মের যে সেন্টেন্সটুকুনি আছে সেটা কিন্তু পজিটিভে আছে, কিন্তু কোয়েশ্চেনটা তখন ছোট্ট যে আমি ট্যাগটা ইউজ করছি সেটা কিন্তু আমাকে নেগেটিভে লিখতে হচ্ছে। আবার যখন আমার অ্যাসার্টিভ সেন্টেন্সটা নেগেটিভে থাকছে, আমার পজিটিভ যে আমার কোয়েশ্চেন যেটা তৈরি করছি সেটা কিন্তু আমার নেগেটিভে চলে আসছে। ঠিক আছে, সো দিস ইজ quite easy. We will be going, I'll be giving you a chapter on this so that it becomes more clear to you, but for your idea, these were the few examples through which you can understand that this is also a type of interrogative sentence, and this is how also we can frame interrogative sentences. Okay, last thing that I need to tell about interrogative sentences are, as in assertive sentences we had two types of sentence, affirmative and negative. In interrogative sentences also, the question may be in affirmative form or it may be in a negative form. How? Let me tell it to you. If I am writing the sentence in affirmative form, that is, Affirmative form is nothing but the positive, a sentence which will have a positive sense in it, and there may be a question which might be in negative form, that is the sentence will have a negative in it. That is an interrogative sentence, but it will have a negative sense, negative sense in it, negative word in it. Let me go through one example. Do you like ice cream? Do you like to eat ice cream? Do you like to eat ice cream? As you can see here, there is no negative word in it. So it is in its affirmative format. Okay. And it is an interrogative sentence. It begins with a auxiliary. It begins with an auxiliary verb, ends with a question mark. And this same question I can ask here in the negative form. However, that is I should have to put in a negative word into it. So here my question will be, so my question will be, don't you like to eat ice cream? Okay, don't you like to eat ice cream? So when I am writing don't you means do not. This is the short form of do not, means do not you like to eat ice cream? So when I have already used the word not here, so it's clear that this is the negative format of this interrogative sentence. So you just go through a few more examples, it will be more clear to you. Okay, so see the examples please. Okay, so hope today's class was quite clear. You understood the things. আশা করি প্রত্যেকে বুঝতে পেরেছো যে কিভাবে সেন্টেন্স ফ্রেম করতে হয়, like by using the WH words, by using auxiliary words, by using modal auxiliary verbs, and by using the question tags. Okay, so these are the 4 ways, and how we can use the affirmative form, how we can use the negative form, interrogative sentences, and what will be the sentence structure. The verb should come before the subject. There may be a main verb, but an auxiliary or modal verb should be before the subject, and there should be a question mark at the end. These are the very important things that you should remember when you are framing an interrogative question. But still, if you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section. I will try to solve your problem, and hope the classes are really becoming helpful for you. If yes, then please do subscribe my channel. If you are liking my videos, if you are finding them to be useful, please put a like, and of course comment, and of course share more and more with your friends, whoever requires and whoever wants to learn English in an easier way. Okay, so for today, bye bye, and see you in the next vlog.